when The Last Jedi came out, I didn't like it. I'll be the first person to say I didn't like it. But now it's been a couple of years. I've seen Rise of Skywalker, and I'm fine with The Last Jedi. No, I don't like Canto Bight. I think it's a stupid scene. But that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that the entire movie is crap. There's still a lot of things that I like about the movie, and I think it fits in. I think it fits into a lot of the into like this larger discussion about what people expect versus what they get, and like it's the expectations versus reality. And I think like some people, like we hear all the time that the Last Jedi subverted people's expectations and subverted what people were expecting from a Luke Skywalker movie. But it's not about Luke Skywalker at all, and his part in the movie makes perfect sense with what happened to him. If you look at it from a psychological point of view, all of his students, all of his students died. They were murdered by his nephew. And what, like,
I mean, he
why,
saw his
why
grandparents. I mean, not grandparents. His uncle, his aunt and uncle too. You know that like this his first start into his whole adventure to becoming this great thing has been led by death and tragedy. Like
exactly. And like, if we want to talk about psychology for just a minute, like, like the toll that puts on you is so intense, because like if you think about it, like his nephew, his and obviously I understand, like his family got torn apart, his sister and his and like, you know, Leia and Han literally split up over this too. Like, I understand, like, you know, Han is like, you know, a lone wolf and whatever, but like they split up over this destroyed his family. And like he just wanted it to end. And Yoda backed him up and said, yeah, it's time for the Jedi to end. These ways and this religion is outdated. We need to move on. We need to move past. We need to create something else that has something to do with this, but something that's better. And his psyche in episode 8 is perfectly fine, because on a rational scale, if that happened to anybody, of course, that's what would end up happening. It makes sense. Yes, there's a lot of things in that movie that don't make sense. Like the fact that they sidelined the two non-white characters in the movie and made them beeline characters is horrible. But that's also not necessarily Lucasfilm's fault. That's actually the fans' fault. The reason why they did that is because fans hated them. And you know, Jordan, you can talk about this next week when we're talking, or the week after. Yeah. We have an entire episode planned on this, and two white girls can't talk about this. Like, we are not the, like, you know, like I'm queer, so that's one minority group, but still, like, that's not like something like I can't talk about, like on like racial things, but like it's still an injustice. I can speak out about it, but like, Jordan, you have all of the words for that. And Jordan just said in the chat, preach. And I'm like, yeah, like they sidelined the two ethnic people in the entire sequel trilogy because people didn't like them. And like, imagine, like, that's just so bad. And this is the reason why people that you know, John Boyega won't ever come back to Star Wars, and Oscar Isaac won't come back to Star Wars unless if he needs a new house.
That's such a good quote. That is
by the way, that's one of my favorite quotes, because do you know what that means? That's basically Oscar Isaac, you know, giving the finger to Lucasfilm and saying, I'm not gonna, like, he can go and do other things because obviously he's Moon Knight and he's like, they're gonna have extra stuff. Like they're going to do more things than just Star Wars, so they don't need it. So, but like, it's really, really, really bad what they did. And like, you can go and hate Lucasfilm for that and have criticisms of that, but don't just say, oh, well, that's not what Luke Skywalker would have been like. That's not a valid argument. What's a valid argument is that they sidelined the two ethnic characters and actors and made them beeline characters in the latter two films. Those are legitimate, like, yeah, like, and Chad just said that the sequel trilogy was never going to be about Luke. No, of course they are bringing in a new lineage. You know, they're bringing in new people. You know, Foe.
Wow.
Finn, Poe, yeah.
Wow,
that Poe-mance.
good.
Like Finn and Poe and Rey. Those are the three characters. And here's the thing, even then, they sidelined even Rey. And they made it about Kylo, like a white male. Like they took, like, it's just like those are I mean, obviously I know that we're off topic of the Bad Batch, but this is something that needs to be talked about. Because like they went and sidelined all of the ethnic people and the women. Like I understand that Carrie Fisher died and episode 9 was supposed to be her movie. And I think it still was. And I think that they did the best thing that they could with the footage that they had and with what happened. But the fact that they took, you know, they made Rey like a side character a little bit. They took, you know, what they were setting up Finn to be and what they were setting up Rose to be. And I think to finish off this specific topic and what we're talking in this, and we'll get back to the Bad Batch and finish that up and finish out the show. I think that they could have fixed a lot of things if they killed Finn in episode 8. That thing, when Rose saved him, I think that's when the like his storyline was done. Because up until that point, there wasn't as many issues. Like I was somewhat okay with the story. I understand that they put them off to the side, but like if they would have had him go out in a heroic way, there would not have been as much of a backlash. But the fact that they went and took that climactic moment where he's flying into the Death Star, basically. And then they just save him. Like it's just
it could have solved not solved, it could have enriched his character and
exactly. And they took that away from him.
Yeah.
And they took it away from him, and it's ridiculous.